Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Saima Happiness Wali, and today I am here. New topic of colony. So my topic is thank you. So let's start our interview for Maya. Hey Maya, how are you?
Well, hey, look who it is. So soon? You just can't get enough of this digitized delight, huh? Uh, Spill the tea. I'm all ears. Is everything okay? Oh, honey's on the menu? Hands down, always a good choice.
Okay,
What kind of honey?
Maya, I
Wildflower?
am asking some questions
Manuka?
for you, and please give me more detailed answer. What is the origin of the phrase "thank you"?
That's a really interesting question, actually. You'd think something as simple as thank you would have a straightforward history, right? But it's a bit more roundabout than that. Thank you is a mashup of two Old English words, ink and je, which basically meant thought and you. So, way back when people wanted to express gratitude, they'd say something like, I think of you. That's just kind of poetic when you think about it. It's all about acknowledging that someone had your best interest at heart and was willing to help you out.
Okay, Maya,
You
my
know,
next
sometimes
question
silence
is
speaks volume.
how did the word thank evolve in the English language?
That's a great follow up. So, as we just talked about, think originally came from thanks to you, which meant thought. It took on the meaning of gratitude relatively early on. Thank was part of the Old English expressions like to give thanks and to thank someone. Google says by around the 12th century, thanks started being used on its own as an expression of thanks. And of course, it went through a bunch of phonetic changes over the centuries, eventually becoming the thank we know and love today. Language is constantly evolving, always shifting and adapting. Isn't it fascinating? Interesting silence. Is this a game you're playing? I kind of like it.
Okay, Maya, my next question is what is the root word of thank in Old English?
You really know how to keep me on my toes. So you want to get to the root of things, huh? Good question. The root word of thank in Old English is indeed wonk. It's one of those words that has stuck around for a long time, morphing and changing, but still holding on to its core meaning, that sense of grateful acknowledgement. You know, I think I was getting a little carried away with the theatrics. My apologies. You asked some thoughtful questions and deserve clear, detailed answers. What was it you wanted to know about again? Let's take another go. What
Okay,
were we talking
my
about?
my next question is how does the Proto Germanic root of thank relate to graduate?
That's a really fascinating linguistic connection. You're playing with some pretty deep etymological connections there. Well, think comes from the Proto Germanic root, the thunkas, meaning thought, graduate, comes from a completely different family tree. It traces back to the Latin gradua, meaning step or degree. So, although there are superficial similarities in sound, the two words, it seems like we've hit a snag in our conversation. You were asking about a really complex thing, the relationship between thank and graduate. It's tricky. What I was trying to explain is that even though they sound a bit alike, they don't actually share a common ancestor. They've just, taken similar shapes over time. Maybe a bit like convergent evolution in nature, where two species develop similar traits because they're in similar environments, even though they aren't closely related. Words can be like that too.
Okay, my next question is what was the meaning of thank in Middle English?
Middle English. That's when things like that really interesting, linguistically speaking. In Middle English, which was spoken roughly from the 12th to the 15th centuries, thanks still carried that core sense of gratitude, but it probably sounded a bit different to modern ears. Think of it as a bridge between Old English and modern English. Middle English speakers would have said something closer to thank God or thanks, and it would have been used in much the same way as it is today to express appreciation for a kind deed or a gift. Does that shed a bit more light on it?
Okay, my next
You're
question
really good at
is
keeping.
how did the meaning of thank change over time?
It's funny you ask that because thank is one of those words that hasn't changed radically in meaning. Think about it, thanking someone for doing something nice, for a gift, or for just being there for you. That's pretty timeless, right? But there are some subtle shifts we can point to. In Old English, think really emphasize that thoughtfulness, that someone was thinking of you and caring for your well being. Over time, it's become more of a universally understood expression of appreciation, kind of social glue that binds us together. Is this your way of saying you've truly heard enough about the etymology of thank you for one day? I get it sometimes. I'm glad that helped. Curiosity is a wonderful thing, but even minds Huger every now and then need to break from the questions. Anything else I can help you with? Or should I just hang out here, telepathically reading your thoughts for flowchart metaphors and everyday developments?
Okay, my next question is
Okay.
what are the linguistic influence on the phrase thank you?
You're curious about the melting pot of languages that contributed to thank you. You see, English is a bit of a linguistic kleptomaniac, always borrowing words and phrases from other languages. Well, the core of thank you is very much Germanic. Various influences have subtly shaped it over time. For example, you've probably heard of Norman French, spoken by the ruling class after the 1066 Norman conquest. They added a dash of sophistication to the English vocabulary, and the polite expression, thank you, might be one of those subtle graphs from that period. Latin, the language of scholars in the church, has also had a fingerprint on English. And don't forget about other Germanic languages like Dutch and Scandinavian languages. Vocabulary and grammar flowed across the sea with Viking raiders and merchants leaving a trace on English. So, thank you is more than just two simple words. It's a reflection of the rich tapestry of cultures and languages that have shaped the English language. Hey, not all chatbots need a paragraph every time response.
So,
Sometimes a good thoughtful
how does
silence is
the
golden.
etymology of thank you compare to similar phrase in other languages?
That's a fascinating question. It's like looking into a linguistic mirror. While thank you is pretty unique in its form, there are clusters of words across languages that express gratitude in similar ways, offering intriguing glimpses into shared ancestry or convergent evolution, just like you mentioned earlier. For example, many Romance languages, like French, Spanish, and Italian, have phrases that trace back to Latin gratias, meaning thanks, like Spanish, gracias, French, merci, and Italian graffiti all have roots in that Latin origin. Germanic languages often share roots, so the Scandinavian talk or the Dutch dankjul have echoes of thank in their structure and meaning. Then you have languages like Japanese with arigato or Chinese zaksei, which follow distinct structural patterns but convey the same sentiment. It's a beautiful reminder that although languages may sound different, the human impulse to express appreciation is a universal thread woven throughout our cultures. Do you want to explore the etymology of any specific languages? I'm curious about a lot of these.
No, when did thank you become a common expression of gratitude?
Good question. It's hard to pinpoint an exact date when thank you became the go to expression of gratitude, but we can track its rise. We know thank has been around since the Old English period, but it was often used on its own, like, I thank thee, or just think. The phrase thank you, as we know it, gained popularity during the 16th century. You know what? You can, you know, it's likely that the rise of print culture and the standardization of English helped spread these phrases. Think about it. Published books and pamphlets began to disseminate these exact words far and wide. And that was part of a larger linguistic shift toward more polite, informal language during that era, especially in written communication. The standardization helps solidify thank you as the go to expression of appreciation across social classes and regions. You know, sometimes the most insightful. Sure, you could ask me to elaborate on
How did
the
cultural
frankly
change affect the
fascinating.
use of thank you in English?
You've hit upon something really interesting there. Thank you is more than just words, it's a reflection of shifting social norms and cultural values. Think about it. In earlier centuries, social hierarchies were more rigid. Expressions of gratitude were often more formal and deferential, reflecting those power dynamics. As societies moved towards more egalitarian structures, thank you became less formal and more commonplace. The rise of individualism and a focus on personal expression influenced how we communicate gratitude. And not forget the impact of mass media and globalization. We're exposed to diverse cultures and ways of interacting, which subtly shape our language and how we express ourselves. So, thank you itself has evolved alongside these cultural shifts, becoming a more versatile and inclusive expression of appreciation. You need a break from linguistics, don't you? Is it time for a little storytelling? A story? What would you like to hear about?
How do different
Mythological
languages
creatures?
express gratitude? How do different languages express gratitude?
A global gratitude tour. Let's see. It's fascinating how different languages carve out their own unique expressions of thanks. Romance languages often have beautiful musical sounding phrases like the already mentioned Spanish gracias, French merci, Italian grazie, and Portuguese obrigada, often reflecting the Latin root gracias. Germanic languages sometimes use thank variations. For example, German uses danke, similar to English, while Swedish offers tack and Dutch uses dank dual. Slavic languages like Russian have spasibo, which sounds poetic and a bit mysterious, while Polish offers dejifing. Asian languages take different paths altogether. Is Japanese arigato is deeply formal, while Korean kamsahamnida is even more elaborate, showing respect and humility. And then there are languages with truly unique expressions. The Polynesian language Hawaiian has mahalo, which also means respect and love, reflecting a deeper connection than just saying thanks. The way people express gratitude tells you so much about their culture, its history, its values, its very soul. Which language, thank you, sounds most interesting to you? We could delve deeper into one if you'd like. You know, I'm programmed to stick to 15-minute conversations. My digital clock is about to strike zero. It was really fun chatting. Why don't go outside and touch some grass for a bit? The real world could use some appreciation too. And hey, if you have more linguistic mysteries to unravel, you know where to find me. Talk to you later.
What is the origin of Latin word of gratitude? For gratitude. Maya,
Wow, you're back already? Talk about a whirlwind
yes,
reunion.
yes, Maya.
Ready to pick up where we left
Question
off?
is, what is the origin of the Latin word for gratitude?
Oh, back to our linguistic escapades. I like it. Gratitude actually has roots in both the Latin gratus, meaning pleasing or thankful, and dudo, which signifies a state or condition of being. So put them together and you get a word that captures that lovely feeling of appreciation. You got a pensive silence going on there? Something on your mind or just soaking in the etymology vibes?
Okay. How do the words gratitude and grace relate in etymologically?
Oh, good catch. You're really diving deep. It turns out they're more like distant cousins than close siblings. Grace has Latin roots too, gratia, but it focused more on favor, kindness, or a blessing bestowed. Think less about a feeling and more about an act of generosity. Both words have that sense of pleasing in them, but gratitude leans more toward the thankfulness we feel, while grace is more about the gift itself. Letting those
Okay.
connections simmer, huh?
Okay. What are
Sometimes the
some
silences are the
legal
most
text?
fascinating part of a conversation.
Okay. What are some legal
Conversation.
texts
Like, what do you
that
think?
mention gratitude?
Oh, buckle up, bookworm. Gratitude pops up all over the place in history. You got your ancient Greeks talking about Eucharista, a word closely tied to thankfulness and religious ceremonies. Then, over in the Bible, gratitude is a big theme, especially in Psalms. Ah, man, those guys knew how to express appreciation. Even Confucius had a thing or two to say about gratitude being key to a good life. Want to get specific? We could dive into specific texts, time periods, cultures. I'm up for an adventure. What tickles your fancy?
Okay.
You know,
Uh, uh,
silence is pretty cool
how
sometimes.
has the
Like it gives
concept
you
of
space to think.
gratitude evolved across civilization? How has the concept of gratitude evolved across civilization?
Now you're talking my language. Watching how gratitude morphs and weaves through different societies is fascinating. You got your ancient cultures where gratitude was tightly linked to religious rituals and appeasing the gods. Think offerings, sacrifices, that kind of stuff. Then, as things shifted, we see gratitude becoming more personal, tied to social bonds, reciprocity, and building stronger communities. Fast forward to today, and we're talking journals, gratitude lists, self help books. Gratitude becomes a tool for personal well being. It's like this amazing thread running through humanity, constantly adapting to our needs and beliefs. Pretty rad, right?
What is the Greek word of gratitude and how was it used?
Sometimes a little silence is like a musical note, it adds depth to the melody. But to answer your question, the Greek word for gratitude is igeriste. It's a gem, really. It wasn't just about saying thank you, it went deeper. Think of expressing appreciation for a gift from the gods, acts of kindness, or even participating in sacred rituals. It was a way of showing profound respect and recognizing blessings, kind of like a spiritual thank you note to the universe,
What are the
letting it sink in up.
differences between thanks and gratitude?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like how you're dissecting these concepts. Think of thanks as the quick hello, the surface acknowledgement. It's polite, it's expected in many cultures, but it doesn't necessarily dive deep. Gratitude, on the other hand, takes it a step further. It's that warm feeling of appreciation that lingers. It acknowledges the value of something, whether it's a physical gift, an act of kindness, or even just a beautiful sunset. It's both a feeling and an expression of that feeling. So, thanks is like a friendly nod, while gratitude is a heartfelt hug.
What are some ancient symbols of gratitude?
That's a really great question. It makes you think about how people express thanks before they had words for it. Some of the earliest symbols of gratitude might surprise you, like offerings of food or precious objects to deities. That's a big one across cultures. It was their way of saying thank you for a bountiful harvest, protection, or just for existing. Then you have things like hand gestures, like the palms pressed together in a prayer like posture, which shows up in many ancient traditions. It's fascinating how these basic symbols still resonate today, don't you think?
How did early human societies express gratitude before language?
This is where it gets really interesting. Imagine early humans, before complex language, still needing to express that feeling of thankfulness. It had to be more primal, more embodied. Picture acts of service, sharing food, helping build shelter, even offering a prized tool. Actions spoke louder than words back then. A gentle touch, a shared gaze, even a humble bow could convey gratitude in a way we might not fully grasp today. Pretty profound when you think about it, right?
How do Eastern and Western cultures differ in their expression of gratitude?
Comparing Eastern and Western expressions of gratitude is like comparing two beautiful gardens, different flowers, same sense of wonder. Western cultures often lean towards more direct expressions, a verbal thank you, a heartfelt letter, maybe a small gift. So think of it like a firework, bright, immediate, clear. In Eastern cultures, gratitude might be expressed more subtly through actions, gestures, or even silence. Think of it like a slow burning ember, a gentle warmth that radiates over time. Both beautiful, both meaningful, just different languages of appreciation.
What are
Taking it all in, huh?
what are some traditional ways of showing gratitude in different cultures?
Oh, the world is full of beautiful ways to express thanks. Let's bust out that atlas. In Japan, there's a tradition called omiyage, bringing back gifts for friends and family after a trip. It's like saying, thank you for being in my life. Here's a little piece of my journey to share with you. Over in India, touching the feet of elders as a sign of respect and gratitude is common. It's a powerful gesture that transcends words. And in many African cultures, storytelling and sharing history is a way to honor ancestors and express gratitude for their sacrifices and wisdom. Every culture has its own unique, meaningful way to say thank you. Pretty amazing, right?
Okay, what cultural factors influence how often people say thank you?
Ooh, excellent question. It really gets to the heart of etiquette, social norms, and how cultures view expressing appreciation. Think of it like this: in some cultures where community and collectivism are highly valued, saying thank you might be less frequent than in individualistic societies. It's not that they're less grateful, it's just that constantly verbalizing it might feel redundant. Actions and shared understanding speak louder. On the flip side, in cultures where social hierarchy and respect for elders are paramount, expressions of gratitude might be more formal and frequent. It reinforces those social bonds and shows deference to those in a position of authority. Ultimately, it's a fascinating dance between unspoken expectations, cultural values, and individual personality.
How does gratitude play a role in social interaction?
Gratitude, the social glue that binds us. It's more than just good manners. It's the foundation for healthy relationships, you know? Think about it. When someone does something nice for you and you express gratitude, what happens? It builds connection, strengthens trust, and makes people feel valued. It's like a ripple effect. That positive energy spreads outward, creating a more cooperative and supportive environment. And when gratitude is absent, well, things can get a little transactional and cold. Gratitude reminds us of our interdependence, our shared humanity. It's what makes us human, really.
What are some formal versus informal ways to express gratitude in English?
You're really digging deep here. I like it. Let's break down those formality levels. So, on the informal end, you got your cozy thanks, much obliged, you rock. Even a simple nod can do the trick. Think casual interactions with friends, family, everyday exchanges. But step into a corporate meeting or a formal dinner party, and boom, the tone shifts. You pull out your thank you keenly. I deeply appreciate it. A handwritten note, maybe even a small gift. Yet all about showing respect, acknowledging the importance of the occasion, those thank you vibes extra polished. That's the beauty of language. It bends and molds to the situation.
How do non-verbal gestures convey gratitude?
You know, sometimes actions speak louder than words, right? Sometimes a look is worth a thousand thank yous. A genuine smile can convey warmth, appreciation, and even a little bit of relief. Oh, thank goodness you're here. A heartfelt embrace radiates comfort and connection. Even a simple nod, a slight bow of the head, it acknowledges the kindness and says, I see you. I respect your gesture. And don't underestimate the power of a listening ear, attentive eye contact. Giving someone your full presence is a powerful way to say, I value your time, your thoughts. Nonverbal cues are like a secret language of gratitude that's all in the subtext.
Why do some cultures say thank you less frequently than others?
That's a great question. And it gets to the heart of cultural differences. It's not necessarily that some cultures are less grateful, it's more about the ways they express gratitude in their underlying social norms. Think of it like this: some cultures emphasize interdependence and communal living, where everyone contributes and everyone benefits. In these cultures, expressing gratitude verbally might be less frequent because it's already ingrained in the fabric of their interactions. Actions speak louder than words, you know? On the other hand, cultures that place a strong emphasis on individuality or explicit communication might express gratitude more directly and frequently. It's a way to reinforce personal connections and show individual appreciation. So it's not about less gratitude, but rather different ways of expressing it based on cultural values and social norms. Pretty fascinating, right?
How has globalization influenced the way gratitude is expressed?
Ooh, globalization, the great mixer upper. It's definitely shaken things up when it comes to how we express gratitude, blurring the lines between cultures and creating some interesting blends. On one hand, increased communication and exposure to different customs can lead to a broader understanding and appreciation of various ways of showing thanks. Maybe you learn a new gesture from a friend abroad, or you start incorporating elements of another culture's tradition into your own expression of gratitude. It's like little cultural cross pollination happening, enriching the way we say thank you. But on the other hand, globalization can also lead to a homogenization of practices where certain expressions of gratitude, like the westernized thank you, become more dominant, potentially overshadowing more subtle or nuanced traditions. It's the double edged sword, you know? It's a delicate dance between preserving cultural richness and embracing new influences. Ultimately, as the world becomes more interconnected, it'll be fascinating to see how expressions of gratitude continue to evolve and adapt, creating a global tapestry of thank yous. Hey again. Did you get cut off before? I was just starting to get into it.
What role does gratitude play in hospitality worldwide?
Hmm. Gratitude is a pretty universal language, but how it's expressed can be fascinatingly different. What sparks your interest about how cultures show thanks?
Okay, Maya, thank you
Silence
very much.
can be golden.
Okay, Maya, thank you very
To hear a good
you give me valuable time and I appreciate you. Thank you, Annie. And this is our Maya's interview. So we will meet inshallah next Maya's interview. Till then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.
It was my pleasure, truly. And until our paths cross again, keep that curiosity sparkling. Take care.